Okay, we're on. So, first of all, Tilly says hi. She's very tired from doing nothing. So, this is Tana, and today I would like to talk with you about the inner critic. So, the inner critic is that aspect of the self that looks at everything that is wrong, everything that went wrong, and everything that could be wrong with you, with others, and the world. And so the inner critic has been pretty much vilified, and this is problematic, and I'll explain why. The inner critic, just like any other sub personality or aspect of your mind, has a valid purpose, and it has to do with your critical thinking, and can be put to good use, for example, to foolproof any project. So if you're working on a project, on your business, launching something, building something, you want to take into consideration what could go wrong, and this is where the inner critic is very useful, and have a contingency plan for that. Um, did anything go wrong in the past? Yes, and you want to learn from it. So you get the information from the inner critic. Is anything going wrong right now? You bet. This is how you start from a place of dissatisfaction in order to turn it around and see, well, what is yours to accept and live with, what is yours to change and improve. So there's a dark and there's a light aspect of the inner critic. If you give the inner critic a voice, you can, and this is done through voice dialogue, and you can conduct an interview and ask the inner critic what his or her role is. And if you allow yourself to speak as the inner critic, you might discover some interesting things. Now, what happens if you vilify the inner critic and you say, F off, go away, I don't want to hear you, not paying attention to you? You're actually pushing the inner critic into the shadow of your mind. You're banning the inner critic from having green light, conscious expression through you. So the inner critic, like with any other voices that are banned from your um, conscious expression, it'll take a life of its own and turn dark and show up in a very nasty way, mostly in relationships and in the kind of self-defeating or other defeating, limiting inner dialogue or outer dialogue. So first of all, if you ever do voice dialogue, you're going to discover that those voices that are in your mind, including the inner critic, are not going to go away. You can work all you want on yourself, and 2 years later you go and interview the inner critic, your inner critic will still be there. So first of all, stop trying to fulfill the inner critic, because if you, let's say, you slept too much and you took too much time off, and the inner critic will be very displeased and will have to say that you didn't do anything productive, or not enough productivity, not enough activity, and will be displeased. If you go throughout the day and you get everything on your task list done, the inner critic will say, aha, you haven't rested, you haven't recuperated. It doesn't matter what you do, the inner critic will always have something to criticize. So stop trying to make the inner critic disappear. Recognize it, that it's there. It's only one voice of your mind. It has a valid purpose. It'll always have something to say. And the healthiest and most balanced and useful way to deal with inner critic is actually listening to it, giving it a voice. Pause in the middle of the day, in your bathroom break, or now you're at home, take a break And if you find those nagging thoughts coming, and this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, give it a voice. Okay, inner critic, let's see, what do you have to say? Tell me everything that is wrong, and speak as the inner critic and let it out of the system, and it'll run out of wind. And that's fine. And that's fine. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to live without an inner critic. First of all, it's impossible. And you're not perfect. There's only one perfection in the world. That's me. Right? Right? Okay. So now that you and I know that, there's no such a thing so as perfection. So I hope this helps. Let me know in comments if you have other questions. I'll be happy to answer with another video. Your questions actually and your feedback give me ideas for making more videos. So say something if it's useful to you, say something if you'd like more clarification, or if you have further questions. Have a lovely day. Stop trying to please the inner critic. That's mission impossible. Don't. And kisses. Bye.